Is the Philippines the best place to retire? Welcome back to Camnob Travel Channel. I hope you have a lovely day. Today, we are going to speak about retirement in the Philippines. At the end of the video, you will learn about benefits and drawbacks of retirement in the Philippines. We will also share with you the monthly cost you need to retire in the Philippines. Before we begin, please subscribe and hit that bell button so that you will be notified on any new video we published here. Alright, let's begin. Number 12. Accommodation. When it comes to accommodation, there are many options in the Philippines, especially in major cities like Manila. A simple one-bedroom apartment inside the main city will cost you somewhere between $450 to $1,200 depending on location and size. However, as foreigners, you are not allowed to own any land. Only citizens are legally allowed to purchase land in the Philippines. Number 11. The Filipino people. You will face with friendly and welcoming people when you visit the Philippines. The kind of response you get from the locals is quite impactful on your experience. Luckily, like in most countries in Southeast Asia, the people in the Philippines are also quite friendly. When you move to the Philippines from the West, the difference in culture can be very significant. However, the locals will try to make you feel at home. The pace of life is slower than in the West, and families are a lot closer. Even strangers are really helpful and supportive of each other, and it doesn't take too long to feel like you are at home. Although the official languages here are Filipino and English, and many speak enough English to communicate in the major cities, the language barrier becomes quite prominent when you move away from the main cities. If you are thinking about retiring in the Philippines, you should learn some basic phrases and words in the Filipino language. Number 10. Culture in the Philippines. You will enjoy delicious cuisine in the Philippines. The food culture is quite lively, and wherever you go in the country, you will find different and delicious recipes to try and enjoy. Be prepared to face culture shock due to difference between the West and the Philippines. However, after a couple of months, you will get used to it. Number 9. Healthcare in the Philippines is quite affordable. Healthcare is free for citizens in the Philippines, under the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation, Full Health. Most expats who are working in the Philippines or have permanent residence there can also enroll with Full Health. However, free healthcare is only limited to public hospitals. Though the staff is usually well trained in these hospitals, they can sometimes lack equipment. On the other hand, private hospitals in the Philippines offer very high standard medical treatments, and when you compare it to healthcare in the West, it is not that expensive. Number 8. How much do I need to retire in the Philippines? The Philippines is a very affordable country to live in. According to many experts, a budget of around $800 to $1,200 per month is enough for comfortable living. Your rent will take out a major chunk of your budget. A single-bedroom apartment in the capital can cost about $650 on average, whereas one on the outskirts of the city, away from the central locations is probably going to be cheaper at $330 on average. As far as utilities are concerned, you can expect to pay somewhere between $85 and $200 for electricity, water, heating, cooling, and garbage disposal. Furthermore, a 60 megabits per second, unlimited internet connection will cost you about $50 per month. Groceries, especially locally produced products, are very cheap, and about $50 to $70 are enough to get you basic groceries. A meal at an inexpensive restaurant can cost around $2 to $7, whereas a 3-course meal at a high-end restaurant will set you back about $15 to $35. So, the Philippines is a very affordable destination, both in comparison to the West, and most other Southeast Asian countries. Number 7. Best place to retire in the Philippines, Manila. Manila is one of the most popular choices for retirees wanting to live in the Philippines. This is because Manila, the capital, has the best healthcare facilities in the country and several modern amenities that a retired person may need. There are multiple lifestyle and leisure options in the city, accommodation is affordable, and it is an excellent location to use as your base to travel to other parts of the Philippines. Number 6. Best place to retire in the Philippines, Iloilo. The Greater Iloilo area is another popular place that many retirees want to call home. It is made up of Iloilo City and 10 other municipalities. Iloilo is a very important business city in the Philippines, and therefore the infrastructure is also quite well developed. Iloilo City has a lot of amenities that any retiree might need, and being an important business center of the country, there are also several choices for investment in the region. Number 5. Best place to retire in the Philippines, Bacolod. Bacolod is another important city in the country, and it was dubbed as the best place to live in the Philippines, in 2008, by Money Sense magazine. The city is home to the Mascara Festival, and it has several leisure options, along with potential business investments. Bacolod is like the Silicon Valley of the Philippines, which is why it isn't that surprising to see so many foreigners and locals trying to live there. Number 4. Best place to retire in the Philippines, Davao. Davao is the largest city on Mindanao Island. If you're looking for a place that is not as crowded as the other cities mentioned on this list, but still has all the essential amenities you might need, Davao is famous for many things. It has pristine beaches, multiple conservation parks, and an abundance of the tropical fruit, durian. Accommodation is quite affordable here as compared to the capital, and the healthcare system is also reliable. So, if you are considering where to retire in the Philippines, Davao is definitely one of the best options. Number 3. Eldercare for retirees in the Philippines. It is possible to get high-standard healthcare at affordable prices in the Philippines. However, that isn't the same all over the country. The hospitals and clinics in the main cities and especially the capital is great, but if you move to rural areas, the situation is way worse. Public hospitals in the major cities have well-trained doctors and other health professionals, but they are a bit lacking when it comes to modern equipment and machinery. Hospitals in the private sector are usually much better. Some of the best hospitals in the country are privately run. As to your medication needs, there are many reliable pharmacies in the Philippines, and they are mostly staffed by well-trained pharmacists. While you are in the Philippines, you need to be aware of mosquitoes, since mosquito-borne diseases such as malaria and dengue fever are endemic in several parts of the country, especially during the wet season. Number 2. What are the requirements to retire in the Philippines? The Philippines offer a specific retirement visa known as the Special Resident Retirees Visa or SRRV. It is the best option for retirees from all over the world. You need to be at least 50 years of age. If you have a guaranteed monthly income, you need to deposit a minimum of $10,000 in a Philippines bank, otherwise, the minimum amount is $20,000. If you are retiring with your family, or your partner, you will also have to deposit an additional $15,000 for every dependent. You will also need to show proof that your pension can pay at least $800 per month, and if you are retiring as a couple, the amount is $1,000. You will have to pay a one-time fee of $1,400 for your visa application, and an additional $300 for every family member moving to the Philippines with you. The yearly fee to renew your visa is $360, which will cover you, your partner, and one child. For each additional child, you will have to pay an extra $100 per year. Lastly, after your visa, you will also need to get an ACRI card. ACR stands for Alien Certificate of Registration. This card has a microchip, with your biometric information such as your fingerprints. It serves as your re-entry permit as well. This card will cost you $50, and it also has to be renewed every year. Remember to check detail in the description for latest updated information on the associated cost. Number 1. How easy is it to retire in the Philippines? The Philippines is one of the easiest places to retire to. The visa process is simple and straightforward because of the availability of the retirement visa. Moreover, the Philippines is also one of the most affordable countries in the region. The Philippines also has most of the modern amenities that a retiree might need. Above all, it has a reliable and modern healthcare system that you can trust. The people are welcoming of foreigners, and there is a growing expats community in the country. Therefore, if you are thinking about relocating elsewhere to retire to, you may want to seriously consider the Philippines. We have arrived at the end of this video on retirement in the Philippines. If you would like more video like this, remember to hit subscribe button and hit that bell button, so that you will not miss any of the video we publish in Camnob Travel Channel. I'll see you in another video shortly.